Hello, it's me, and it's time to roll out a demonstration solve of this thing here, the Praxis Cube. Now, I say demonstration because oftentimes I find myself in a position where I do a video to show kind of the movement and the solve of a puzzle, something of a tutorial, but not exactly because it's not mass-produced. This is not an easy puzzle to obtain, but there oftentimes comes a point at which mass production happens. And my hope is that with these videos, I spur enough interest in the powers that be to make something like this mass-produced, because the way this puzzle works, it really should be mass-produced. I've known a lot of lesser puzzles that are, so hopefully that'll be the case. When that happens, I tend to go back and do maybe a little bit more detailed demonstration or detailed tutorial. So this is really just an introduction and a solve to see what this thing is all about. So as introduced in the unboxing that I did with this puzzle, this is a shape mod of this guy. So this is a Rex cube. A Rex cube is like a Dino cube, but it has deeper cuts. When you have deeper cuts on both sides here, you end up with these little petals that are here. So where Dino puzzles really only have edges, these have edges over here, they have the center, and then they've got these petals. I guess we can call them corners because they move around like corners, but they're really slices of the edges. So I'll just call them petals. But just to show how this puzzle correlates with this guy over here, this is the piece, and this is the piece that is obviously a corner turning piece. But then you have the next piece, which is here and here. It still is a corner turner, but it looks like it's moving at the face. It's been offset by about 60 degrees. So this move is equivalent to, now you have to look and see how all these petals come together. But basically this is the center, this is a edge, 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 and edge. So these type of shapes are edges, and these here are basically petals, your corner, so to speak, matched up with the center over here. And they'll look a little different depending on what side you use. So I showed this on the unboxing, but I'll show it again here. Now the movement is actually very good, but you do have to make sure you're lined up, otherwise things will snag. And it doesn't take too much to bring them out. So anyway, that's the real challenge of this puzzle. There's two challenges. There's the perspective, which gets bent a lot. And then there's the characteristic of this puzzle as actually being a supercube version of this. Because notice this is one color, these are all of one color. So you can rotate them or interchange them any way you want. Here you have specificity of orientation because of this shape. The center has two colors. These have three colors, and this is two colors. This is one color and this is one color. So only these two petals share the characteristic of having one color. However, although these two have the same color, there's specificity in where they belong. You cannot interchange these two. It just wouldn't fit. So every piece has a very specific place that it belongs. So it means it's a supercube. So while you didn't have to deal with orientation to the center or specific positioning of the petals in this puzzle, you do with this, and that's the other bit of complication. So anyway, if I were to move this back, do my down, down, up, up thing, now we'll do it like this. Actually, I might not get away with it like that, so I'm going to have to do it a few times. There we go. Turn, 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 turn. So this actually has many different solve positions. This only has one solve position. And what would be a solve position in this is not a solve position in this. And during the process of this, I will show you what I mean. So this is one way. The other way is to take a look and see, say, these three. See how these three come together? Same thing. Turn, 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 and turn. So just like in the unboxing, just to show what this is, obviously there's a lot of shape changing that happens with this. And I'll move this guy back here too. See if we can find an easy way in. Nope, so I'll have to do it like this. Turn, 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 and once more, turn, 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 turn. Every side has an interesting, kind of a similar symmetric shape to it, even though the turning doesn't give away, the side doesn't really give away exactly how it turns. So I'm not looking for a lot of puzzles that I have to do radically different schemes or strategies or algorithms. I actually don't like memorizing algorithms. What I've been trying to do with much of these tutorials is to take a couple, maybe 5 to 7 core algorithms that are fairly intuitive and can be broadly applied. Now it's true that when I did the wall cube or some of the bandaged 3x3 versions, you had to come up with some new things, or Justin's pocket cube. My goal with collecting isn't really so much that, it's to find works of art like this. The other question that I have is, I had mentioned before how this is a shape mod of this puzzle, but this actually was revealed first. Andrew Cormier, who's the inventor of this, came out with this and demonstrated this puzzle first. And it caused a little bit of a splash in terms of, well, what is it? What's it a shape mod of? If it is a shape mod of anything. But it did come out first, and then this came out. So is this the native puzzle and this is the shape mod of this? Or is this the native puzzle and this is a shape mod of that? How do I define which one? Can I say that this is the underlying puzzle and this is just a shape mod? But I think we can agree that if a puzzle turns in a very specific and predictable way off of an axis that's known and does not shapeshift, I think that very symmetry, we can call that a core puzzle, and that this is a shape modification of that. So it was an interesting roundabout way that they came about. So to solve this so that it's not just a matter of watching me do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to correlate the solve of this puzzle with this puzzle. So we're going to start off with a scramble here. And I've done a tutorial on the technique of how to do this. And at some point, if and when this gets mass produced, I'll revisit this and go into a little bit more detail. Right now, this is just to show the similarities and how I used each puzzle to decide how to work with this. Okay, so here's the scramble of this guy. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so I separated all the colors. Nice little puzzle, nice little challenge. You've got the Dino portion, then you've got to put these petals in here. So let's go ahead and scramble this puzzle and see what that looks like. So I'm going to make a corner turn like this. Then I'll start to find where the other corners are. Now, anytime I see, perspective is an issue with this puzzle. So I see this comes together, and this. So these three come together here. So I know that this will be the axis of rotation. Just like anytime I see all these 4 things coming together to this little space here, I know that that's the axis of rotation. So too, everything is coming to the center here. So this is the axis of rotation. Over here, let's see. This petal, this petal, this petal, everything is coming to the center over here, so I know that this is an axis of rotation. Now I gotta be careful, make sure I'm lining everything right. I know now that these are centers, these are petals here, this is a petal over here, edge, edge, edge. So we'll continue to scramble, and the more familiarity I get with the structure of this puzzle, the easier it becomes to do the moving. So this petal is over here, so now I can turn this here. So I'm going to continue to scramble it because you don't always get an opportunity to see this kind of a puzzle scrambled in this kind of a way. Come across over here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to separate everything. If I grab a center, I know I'm going to be able to move. So I'm just grabbing centers, and now I can move it much more efficiently and faster. And I see these all are coming together. So I'm grabbing a center and I'm moving this here. Yep, so this is not exactly lined up. Now it is. So there's a learning curve. So after you've solved a puzzle like this a couple times, you do it once, you do it twice, you do it a couple more times to see if there's any hidden parities that you didn't get the first time. But then after a while, you kind of grow a little wary of it. How many times can you solve it? So what it does is it goes right back on the shelf and occupies space over there, which is okay because then you can just admire the collection. The best way to take a puzzle and expand the fascination with it is by making a shape mod, just like this. So by making this shape mod over here, I can take a puzzle that I may find even easy and turn it into something that's a lot more challenging, either because I've turned it into a super puzzle of the same nature, or I've made it to where I've created some parities that weren't there before. And that's what happens with this puzzle. I've actually created some parities that did not exist, and we're going to see how to get through it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue to scramble this. Abracadabra. Okay, there it is. So this is a Scramble Praxis Cube. So when you take a look at these puzzles, they look almost unrecognizable from each other, but they're actually the same kind of puzzle. This is just scrambling away where it's all shape-shifted, and this is not. So in order to best demonstrate what I'm doing, I'm going to do a tandem solve with this. So the first thing that I do is I do the Dino solve. The Dino solve means putting these guys in. This is a quick and easy solve. I'm going to start off with a green. I've already done displays of that. Now I'm going to move this into here and up, so green, 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 and I'm going to move another green here, and I'm just whipping this around. So this needs to come up to here, so I'll bring this out of the way, move this up, and move this down. Okay, now notice green is here, yellow, orange, black, and red. Now I could just as easily put this to here, this to here, this to here. I could have just as easily done that. The only other configuration is to swap these two or swap these two. So how do I know if I need to do that? If this were a Dino cube, I wouldn't know and I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care because you could still solve it like that. So dinos actually have two configurations that can be used. But in this puzzle, it doesn't. Actually, the centers will sort of define where they're supposed to be. So there's the possibility of a Rex cube parity with that, which we'll get into in a little bit. But now we do the rest here. This black one goes over here, so I'm going to move this up, move this back. While I have this here, I'm going to take this red, and this is all positioning. Dinos are nice and gentle puzzles. So this is here, I need the other black and orange. This just comes down, and orange and yellow. I'm just going to whip this around here, and pretty quickly you'll find that you've got this in here. So now I need the yellow and red, which is right here. So this I just bang. So this layer is done over here. Again, this is just the Dino solve. Now the top, with the top, you always find one that's in, or potentially one that's in. So this is rotated up and this is in over here. I put that to the back, and then I just do one down, down, up, up, and it's solved. So what I do is I find the one that's also flipped to the right orientation, but it's not at the right place. Grab the one that doesn't have it oriented right or placed right, because what this is going to do is this is going to slide this over to here, this will flip to here, and this will flip to here, and everything will be fine. So we'll go down, down, up, up, and the Dino portion is done. You can see that this is all done over here. Then you have to deal with the petals. So I'm going to shift over here and do the same thing. It's the same kind of a solve. So let's see how we can guide our way through it. You know, after you've solved the puzzle so many times, you solve it a few more times and decide if you've achieved all the different types of solutions. Is there any hidden parities that might be kind of fun to deal with? But then after a while, you're pretty much done, and it kind of goes back on the cabinet, which still looks great over there because it's just part of a collection. It's not just the solving, it's the displaying and the demonstrating. The best way to take a puzzle that you really enjoyed and come back to it is to modify it to where you use exactly the same strategies, but you just have to skew your perspective. So with this, there's no new strategy. Well, there's no new algorithms. There are some new strategies to get through some of the parities. So let's see what happens as we navigate through it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get the 4 pieces in that surround a center. So let's see. Well, here's a green over here. So let's go ahead and try that. So which center does this green surround? Well, here's a center. Well, I might not be lined up quite right. Let's line this up over here. And we can say, maybe this one over here. We'll say that this center includes this green. What we also see is that this center, I have this red that's around that too, and that forms a flat surface. So I'm thinking this center, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are 2 that I think belong together because the red is flat over here. So over here is going to be probably a yellow arrow. So let's find a yellow arrow right over here. So bearing in mind my axis of rotation, I'm going to turn this, and bang, we like the looks of this. So over here is probably going to be green. And just to confirm things, I see that green and yellow have an edge right over here, green and yellow. So I'm going to say that this appears to be what a color scheme that we're going to need. So I'm going to turn this over here. Now remember, this is the Dino portion. This is the easiest portion here. I want to turn this into here. So let's turn this out of the way. No, actually, I don't turn that out of the way. I turn something else out of the way. Let's turn this back before I confuse myself. So I'm going to turn this out of the way, turn this in, and bring this back. Got to make sure we're completely oriented here. So yeah, these two do move as a unit, and bang. Okay, once it's lined up, the movement is incredibly smooth, but you do have to line it up. So when we take a look at this, this is the center, these are the petals of the flower, so to speak, and these are the edges. So we're going to say that this is a side. This is a Dino side. And if this were a Dino Praxis Cube, which I would love to see, by the way, these wouldn't be here, these would be fused together. These would just come together. So if anyone can make a Dino Praxis, please do it. I'll sponsor it. Anyway, so now what I'm going to do is just like when I had this, I'm going to turn it to where this is on the bottom and get these layers over here. Now how am I going to find which ones go where within this mess? Well, I'm going to find another center just above this center and recognize that there's 3 more edges to put in. I'm going to go to the edges just to the side. So with this down, I'm going to find another center, which is here. And then I'm going to find an edge here, because an edge goes here, here, and here. I'm interested in these 2 edges. So what goes here? Well, it's not the red. Ignore this. It doesn't matter the color of the edge. What I'm going to be looking for, I guess, is I'm going to be looking for, well, probably a green. Not a green arrow, but another kind of a green. So let's find any other green. How about this guy? So we're going to move this in here. Let's match this up right, and then move this down. Should be able to do that easily. Moving it down, and we like it. As a matter of fact, this is the color scheme of the edge on the side. So I know that this is fine. Find the center and now match this edge. This is going to be red. It's probably going to be a red arrow because each side has these 2 kinds of an edge and an arrow. So I'm going to look for a red arrow to put here. Here's my red arrow. Now the thing about it is I've got to be sure that I'm not destroying what I did before. And it's easier to do, much easier to do with this one than it was with the Rex Cube, because your perspective is, as we say, skewed. So now I want to put this, move this like so. Now let's see if we can't put this in here, find a way to do that. I'm having a hard time moving it this way, and I don't want to force anything. There it is, just got a little snaggy. Okay, you're going to find that I have to keep reorienting myself. So this is here, this is my side. We like this. Now we want to put this one in, which is going to be the red one. So that's going to come down here, I suppose. And then this will come over to, got to be exactly lined up. See, it will turn, aha, there. Okay, just to check my work, this is still in. I haven't destroyed it. This is good. This is the surrogate center, and this is good. So I've got these 2, and now I'm going to head for this one. So here's the center that joins these. Now I'm going to work on this one. Which one's supposed to be here? It's another yellow, but it's not a yellow arrow, nor, well, it's not a yellow arrow, so it's got to be this. So I'm just going to move this up, move this across, and that fits really nicely over there. Okay? So now I keep going here to here. So what's this one supposed to be? Well, this one is a little harder to figure out because it's going to come in and point to this. So I think it's another arrow because it's going to come to the center. Just like all of these are coming to the center, this will have to come to the center. But what color is it going to be? Well, whatever color it is, it's going to be opposite red. And if it has a classic color scheme, it's going to be orange. Therefore, this one is probably going to be the orange arrow, this one. So I'm just going to turn this, happen to get lucky it's right here, and we like that. So we're going to say this is correct, it's just opposite the red. So these 2 are opposite each other, this. So basically what I appear to have done is I have all of these edges in, the middle layer edges in. So now comes the interesting part, to put these guys in. So what I'm going to have to do is make sure that I find the center that's opposite this. Now let's take a look at these edges. Are there any that's in just like this was? Every so often I get lucky and they all happen to be in. So this edge is in. It likes where it's at the blue, and it's also opposite the green. So this edge is in. This one is not. So I'm going to put this edge, which is rotated correctly and is in, I'm going to put this one in the back. And with that one in the back, say this, I'm going to do my down, down, up, up, like with these. I'm going to find a way to do it here too. So with this in the back, my down, down, up, up is going to be affecting this center. So is there anything else that's in? Well, let's see how easy it is to get turned around. This one is supposed to be orange, but it's oriented wrong. This one is supposed to be orange, so I think this is supposed to be here. This is supposed to be here, and this white one is supposed to be here. So with this in the back, I'm going to go, and let's see if it works. Down, down, up, up. And my down, down, up, up should not be affecting the back color. Okay, get my bearings and let's see where we're at. So this is still not affected, which is good. This is okay over here. This one, still not where we want it to be. This one is not where we want it to be, and this is not where we want it to be. So let's do a down, down, up, up again and see what happens. Down, down, up, up. Okay. Now, well, success! I like what this looks like. Why? Because this is where it needs to be by this orange. This is where it needs to be by its orange. These are where they need to be by its blue. And these are need to be are where they need to be by the white. So if you look at it, I actually have the cubic structure. My Dino Praxis version is done. And you can tell because you've got this sort of arrow look here, this green here, this red here, this yellow here, orange here, and white over here. So basically I now have the equivalent to this, where all of the edges are in place in relation to each other. Now although these are the false sides, so to speak, this is actually the side here. These are corners. So these are corners that are being turned, but these are the sides. So every center is surrounded by the correct configuration. So you can see how that has this nice symmetric look over here. So that's how I know that I've passed the first hurdle. So where do I go from here?